In this video, we're going to discuss how to complete the square and solve a quadratic equation. So this is actually broken up into two parts. In this video, we'll just do one example, and in the next video, we'll do several more examples. Though in this two-part series, hopefully the goal is to understand how to complete the square and solve a quadratic equation by completing the square. Okay, so first, what is completing the square? What's the goal? What does that mean? So let me write that in general terms as being, what we want to do is we want to get it into the format x plus k, where k is just, some constant, and then that term squared equals d. All right. The idea being, if you get it into this format, if you're able to rearrange your equation, okay, and get it into this format, then it's very easy to solve from here. You take the square root, you use the square root method, basically. You set k plus x equals plus or minus the square root of d, and then you solve for x. Okay, so if we can get into that format, that would be great. That's the goal. This is called a complete square. Now, why is it called a complete square? Okay, so let me draw a square here. Okay, it's not perfect, but you get the idea. It's supposed to be a square. So this is, let's say, so I'm going to draw some sides here. So let's say that this side here, okay, this is x, okay, and then this side here is also x. All right, so there's this square here, all right, and the area of that square obviously is x squared, right? Okay, and then we have this little piece here, and that's k. Okay, and then this little rectangle would be x times k. That would be the area of that rectangle, and then again here, this is also k. And so the area of this rectangle would also be k times x. Okay, and the area of the entire rectangle, or entire square, would then be x plus k times x plus k, which is this x plus k squared, which equals d. Okay, so let's talk about, for a minute here, let's talk about the pieces of this. Let me go ahead and I'm going to shade in some of these pieces. Okay, so I'm going to shade this one in blue, this one in blue, and I'm going to shade this one in red. Okay, so let's talk about the area of that shaded region. Alright, so area of the shaded region. Okay, so the area of the entire square, we know that's D. Okay, but so the area of the shaded area, oops, too many D's there, of the area of the shaded region would then be x squared, right? That's the area of the red region, plus x times k, that's the area of one of the blue regions, and then the other blue region, x times k. So in other words, it would then be x squared plus 2xk. Alright, so now, what about the area of that unshaded region? So the area of unshaded region, so this little side here is just k, that side here is k, so this is like a little square, it's k by k. Okay, so that would equal k squared. Alright, hey, and this makes sense because, x plus k squared is the same thing as x squared plus 2xk plus k squared. So basically these are the three, the x squared is the red region, 2 times xk, that's the blue region, and then k squared, that's the unshaded region of the drawing I have above. Okay, you add all those together and you should get D. Alright, so now let's now look over here at our example. Alright, so the goal is to get this equation into that format. Very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. Alright, so I'll have x squared plus 6x equals negative 7. Okay, so unlike factoring, where the very first step is to get 0 on one side, in completing the square, it's totally okay to have another number on the right-hand side, and you will actually almost always have another number on the right-hand side. So the very first step is to get the x terms all together on the left-hand side. Alright, so now I got the x terms. I'm trying to get it into, this format here. Alright, so actually I'm going to rewrite it a little different. I'm going to say x squared plus, instead of writing a 6 there, I'm going to try to write it in this format where I have a 2, an x, and then some other constant k. So I'm going to write 2x, and then my constant k is going to be 3. And because 2 times 3 is 6, so this is the same. I haven't changed anything about the equation when I go from this step to that step. 2 times 3 is 6. Alright, but the reason I did it like this is because I wanted to look like this over here. Okay, so now this is starting to look like this. Now, ultimately, remember my goal is to have x plus k squared on the left-hand side. Okay, so I need to add on this little piece down here, that empty piece. So far what I have is I have this red piece. I have x squared. I have the 2 little k pieces, but I do not have that little white piece down here. So I'm going to add to both sides of the equation. So I'm going to write this x squared plus 2x times 3, and I'm going to add on this last little piece, which should be k squared. Now, if k is whatever we're multiplying by 2x, so it should be 2xk. So k is obviously 3. So what should I be adding on? I should be adding on 3 squared. Now if I add on 3 squared to one side of the equation, I need to do it to the other side of the equation. Can't just do that to one side. If I add on 3 squared, I need to also do it to the other side. Alright, so now I'm going to write this x squared plus 2x times 3. Actually, what am I doing? I'm going to erase this because right here I have it in the format. This is the complete square format, x squared plus 2x times k plus k squared, right? So I can rewrite this, and I'm going to rewrite it as x plus k squared. Now k is 3, so x plus 3 squared. So you see here, this x squared plus 2x3 plus 3 squared is the same thing as x plus 3 squared. You can factor this out to double check that these two things are the same, but they are the same. So and then I'm going to write the right hand side of the equation. I have negative 7 plus 3 squared, which is 9. Okay, so negative 7 plus 9, this would leave us with 2. So I'll end up with x plus 3 squared. Yay! That is the complete square. Okay, so I finally have got it into this format. This format x. Got it into this format here. X plus k squared equals d. Okay, that was the goal. I got it into that format. But I'm not done. I need to solve the equation. So I need to solve for x. And the way I'm going to do this now is by using the square root method. So I'm going to have x plus 3, and I'm going to take the plus or minus the square root of 2, okay? And then, so now I don't have the square over on the left-hand side anymore. So I have plus or minus the square root of 2 on the right-hand side. So I need to get x by itself. I subtract 3 from both sides, and I get x equals plus or minus the square root of 2 minus 3. Okay, so then when I'm going to write my solution, I'll start with the smaller of the two. Oops. Minus 3, comma, the square root of 2, minus 3. Okay, this is my answer. That is my solution set. Okay, so if this was maybe a little confusing. I have another example in part 2. I'm going to go through 2 more examples of completing the square that hopefully can clear this up.